All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're taking a close look at a really important piece of energy policy coming out of the Philippines. It's called Department Circular 2026-02-0008. Now, I know that sounds super technical, but trust me, this document is basically the blueprint for a huge shift in how the country makes and manages its power. It's all about setting the stage for a much, much greener future.
But that brings us to the age-old question with green energy. We all love the idea of solar panels and wind turbines, right? But what actually happens when the sun goes down or when it's just not a windy day? How do you keep the lights on 24/7? That's the core challenge, and it's exactly what this new policy is designed to solve.
So let's start there with what we're calling the Green Energy Challenge. We're going to look at both the incredible promise and, well, the big problem that comes with renewable power.
Okay, so first, the promise. And it is ambitious. According to the Philippine Energy Plan, the country has set some seriously impressive goals. They're shooting for a 35% renewable energy share by 2030, and then cranking that up to at least 50% by 2040. I mean, that is a massive commitment to clean energy.
But here's the problem that comes with all that ambition. As the policy itself points out, when you start adding more and more power from sources that aren't constant, like solar and wind, you get more swings in voltage and frequency. The grid can get kind of jumpy, and that can make the whole system unstable. So the big question becomes, how do you welcome all this green energy without, accidentally breaking the grid? And that leads us to the heroes of this story. So let's meet the grid stabilizers. This is the tech that's literally designed to solve this exact problem. First on the scene, we have Energy Storage Systems, or ESS for short. The official description calls them an emerging technology that ensures power quality and reliability, but here's an easier way to think about it. It's basically a giant, super smart battery for the entire electrical grid. It soaks up all that extra power when it's super sunny or windy, and then, like a reservoir, it releases that energy precisely when the grid needs it most. Now here's what makes that battery smart. It's a piece of tech called a grid-forming inverter, or GFM. These things are the absolute brains of the operation. You see, most inverters just follow the grid's existing rhythm. But GFM inverters, they can create their own stable grid signal completely independently. They don't just follow the beat, they are the beat, making the power supply incredibly strong and stable.
So, we have the problem, and we have the cool technology that can fix it. Now let's look at the new Energy Rulebook itself and see how this policy, DC 2026-02-0008, actually unlocks all this potential for the Philippines.
And here it is, the document itself. It's basically a major update to the country's energy rules, specifically designed to bring these new technologies into the fold. This is the government putting a stake in the ground and saying, hey, we need these grid stabilizers, and this is how we're going to make sure it happens.
But why go through all this trouble? Well, this quote from the circular really cuts to the chase. The goal is to, quote, reduce the country's dependence on fossil fuels, thereby minimizing the country's exposure to price fluctuations in international markets. See, this isn't just about being eco-friendly, it's a smart economic move toward stability and energy independence.
And here's where the policy gets really interesting, where the rubber meets the road. Get this, it mandates that any new renewable power plant over 10 megawatts must have an energy storage system that's at least 20% of its total capacity. This isn't just a friendly suggestion, it's a hard and fast rule. They're literally building stability into the new green infrastructure right from the start.
Of course, a plan this big doesn't just happen on its own. It takes a village, right? It needs a totally coordinated effort. So let's take a look at who's on the team, all the key players responsible for making this new grid a reality.
And it really is a nationwide team-up. The policy lays out exactly what everyone needs to do, from the generation companies making the power, to the utilities and providers moving it around, to the operators managing the whole system. And of course, the Department of Energy is steering the ship. It's a full-on, coordinated strategy to make sure everyone is pulling in the exact same direction.
So, with the tech in place, the rules written down, and the whole team on board, what does this all add up to? Let's talk about what this really means for the Philippines' future.
To put it simply, the result is a future with energy that's more reliable, more resilient, and a whole lot greener. By requiring these smart storage systems, the country can bring on way more renewable power without sacrificing stability. For an everyday person, this could mean a more dependable power supply, fewer brownouts, and a grid that's just built tougher, ready to power everything from your home to hospitals and schools.
And all of this leaves us with one final, pretty exciting question to think about. By making this cutting-edge grid-forming storage a mandatory part of its green energy plan, is the Philippines on its way to building not just a cleaner grid, but maybe one of the world's smartest and most resilient energy grids of the future?